Call to order the September 19th, 2018 Planning and Zoning Commission. Roll call.
Katharina Barbie.
Here.
Vicky Buckley.
Here.
David Castro. Max Maxwell.
Here.
Jerry Wright.
Here.
Chair Christina Doe.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Approval of the agenda. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? And if none, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
So moved by Buckley.
Seconded.
Second by Maxwell. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
We'll have the
We do
minutes
not
of the
have
September
minutes, right?
5th meeting at our next meeting for consideration by the commission.
Okay. So our next item is our public participation portion. So anyone who would like to comment on anything not part of the agenda, you're welcome to come to the podium and state your name and address. There being none, we're going to move on to new business. We have a public hearing, a petition by Banner Up Signs applicant and Hillcrest Covenant Church owner for a special use permit for a church in order to provide, for a church in order to approve a waiver to Article 13.03.9 of the Unified Development Ordinance to allow an electronic changeable copy sign, in parenthesis, digital display sign, on the subject property located at 1515 North First Street. So the petitioners, do you have a presentation? And if you would state your name and address, please.
John Kuhn, Banner Up Signs, Sycamore, Illinois.
Jen Zerby, pastor at Hillcrest Covenant Church, 1550 North First Street.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
If you can pull the microphone a little
Either of them,
or
it's not
something.
on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is that on?
It's on.
Jeff, is the microphone on the podium?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
There we go.
Okay.
Maybe now.
My name is Jen Zerby. I'm the pastor at Hillcrest Covenant Church. We're grateful for the chance to speak to you tonight. We have been at our current location there at the corner of First and Ridge since 1969. But Hillcrest Covenant Church has actually been located in and active in the community for 130 years or so. We're very regularly involved in all kinds of different community events and organizations, and very proud to be a part of the DeKalb community. We are a congregation of just under 150 members from throughout DeKalb and Sycamore, some of whom are our immediate neighbors to the actual building itself. So we've been able to ask for some of their input in the process as well. So our current church sign is about 25 years old and is very badly deteriorated. It takes about 2 to 3 people right now to change our current sign. It is quite a process. 1 to 2 people have to hold the door up because it's deteriorated so badly, and then a third person has to kind of crawl under the door to change the lettering for it. So it makes it difficult to change, which also means that it's difficult for us to stay current with the messages that are up there, which is, you can imagine, is difficult for a church community. And so our request tonight is to replace the sign, clarifying that we're just replacing the message board with an electronic one. And I'm going to turn it over to John to give you some more specifics of the sign itself.
So the sign is located on the corner of, First Street and Ridge. You can see it in the picture there. It's currently 49 inches tall, 90 inches wide, same size, going to remain. Basically, the only thing that's changing on it is the message board portion. Currently, there is a vandal cover that you have to lift up.
Can you pull the microphone up? Sorry.
A vandal cover you have to lift up to do the changeable copy. So like Jen was saying, basically 2 people hold it, 1 person climbs under the cover, makes the change to the letters, and then the vandal cover is closed. What we're hoping to do is redo the 2 faces of the sign. So the top portion is going to have their logo. What you see in blue will be all aluminum. The letters will be routed out of the aluminum. The aluminum will be backed with acrylic. So the only thing that lights up on the logo is the letters. The background does not light up, just the letters themselves. The lower portion, what's in black, is where the electronic message center would be. The electronic message center would be amber in color, so basically about 2,000 shades of orange. We went with this option not to interfere with traffic because you are on a corner, so we didn't want to do reds and green colors. Basically, the church can control the sign 100%. Messages, how much messages they want on it. Do they want 1 line of copy? Do they want 5 lines of copy? What the intensity of it is, when the sign turns on and off. My understanding is that the sign will be on from, they're hoping the sign will be on from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. They can control the brightness of it. They can control virtually everything on it. And that's about all I have.
Okay, thank you. We may have some questions for you later, so if you want to have a seat, then
Okay.
we'll get through the rest of the process. Thanks. Okay, so I turn it over to the city.
Thank you. We have a staff report in your packets. As noted, they're requesting a special use permit. Electronic reader board signs are prohibited in the sign regulations. The regulations do allow with a special use permit a waiver to the sign regulations. We've had one recently from Little John Elementary School, if a few of you remember that, where they did they had more than one electronic reader boards, other signs too. So the applicant went over the request. So with the special use, which the church is in this zoning district, residential, single family, they can ask for a waiver to the sign regulations, in which they are doing. So the sign is, existing sign, as I noted, is this being replaced. It's going to be at the same location, the new one. It's about 5.5 feet in height, 30 square feet, double-sided, internally lit, 2 lines of changeable copy, as they've noted. And what they like to do is take out the area with a changeable copy, and that will be the electronic reader board area, and then the top will be redesigned a little bit, as they've indicated in the drawing. So the size of the sign will be the same. In the UDO, it does allow one identification sign for a church and school and other public buildings up to 50 square feet and 15 in height, which they're meeting. As I noted, the church has been built since 1969, and the sign has been, they've had a monument-type sign this location for about 25 years, as I indicated. As I noted, Little John Elementary School did get a special use permit recently for, one of the signs was approval of an electronic changeable copy sign that was 7 foot high and about 46.5 square feet. It was near the entrance to the school, if you recall. School building, and part of that approval was, which we're recommending here too, is some operational limitations on the sign. And the church, and we've indicated that to the church early on that this other use, Little John Elementary School, did receive approval. Here's where the conditions that were approved, shared that with them. They agreed that they could comply with those, and they're listed in the staff report. There's restrictions on, that there's no optical illusion of the movement. Each message must be displayed for a minimum of 20 seconds, so that this won't be a flashing sign or anything. There's no transition between messages. There's limitations for any off-site advertising unless it's an emergency situation, and there has to be equipped with the automatic off switch if the sign is malfunctioning. The special use permit issued for the school, we did have a discussion regarding the length of time it could be lit, and for the digital display sign in front of the building, there was one of the conditions was that it be only turned on when there's an activity in the school or some function with the school going on. If there's not, then it had to be turned off. So there's no condition in this recommendation with that. They indicated that the sign would be on from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. So we're not proposing, unless the commission wishes, there's no restriction on when it can be lit or not. But these operational limitations in the report are recommended as part of the approval for the project. We also have other electronic changeable copy signs. Recently in the city, DeKalb High School in 2009, First Midwest Bank at 130 West Lincoln in 2012. That was in 2012, Bemis Toyota on Sycamore Road in 2016. Those operational limitations we took and we put in the Little John Elementary School one, and that's copied in this one. So we're trying to keep consistent in terms of the limitations on these electronic reader board signs as we go forward with each one. And as noted, the church did review these conditions and has agreed to them that they can comply with them. So we have the findings of fact for the special use. Again, the proposed sign meets the ordinance requirements regarding height and size for churches. Of course, requesting the waiver on the digital display sign part of it. The sign, they're not taking up the whole sign with the digital display, about 58% of it roughly that they're taking up. And that's what we saw in Little John Elementary School, so I think we're trying to make sure these signs in digital display are not the entire sign, that they're a portion or part of the regular sign itself. The sign will not be detrimental to the surrounding area. It is surrounded by single-family homes. The closest home is roughly about 120 feet away. The sign approved for Little John's Elementary School was actually a little bit closer to homes than what they're proposing here. So the sign, as you can see, it's located on the corner. It's a couple street views, looking north and then looking south along First Street. And there's a site plan showing the current location. Here it's about 21 feet from Ridge Drive sidewalk and about 11 feet or so from First Street, so it does meet all the setback requirements for signs. And you can see the sign in the corner here. So it's not in an area that's directly adjacent to a home. This is a vacant lot here, and you can see the homes in the surrounding. Across the street there, and that's, I think the closest one was around 120, 125 feet away. So, so they meet the other findings of fact. There's adequate, utility connection already to the sign to be lit. So we feel it won't be detrimental to the surrounding area, and we'd recommend approval. We did get a few citizen response forms that are provided in your packet. We did receive a form from Sharon Flommer of 1623 Margaret Lane and Vicki Novak and Sonia Wiley of 1701 on Judy Lane, indicating they do not support the proposal. Also received citizen response forms from Dennis and Wanda Sabin of 1501 North First Street, Elaine Licking representing 104 Ridge Drive, and an email from Linda Leahy of 1527 Margaret Lane, all of them noting their support of the request, and copies were provided to the commission in their packet. So there's a sample motion recommending approval based on the detailed signs in the location, detailed provided by Banner Up Exhibit A, and the conditions in Exhibit B, which are those operational limitations that I went over before.
Okay, thank you. So since this is a public hearing, we have the opportunity for the public to comment on this item. If there's anyone who has any questions or comments, we welcome to have you come to the podium. If you could state your name and address, please.
Good evening. I'm here on behalf of Trinity Lutheran Church. We have a property on Laurel Lane, 124 Laurel. I'm Randy Bordages, Financial Secretary for our church. I'm here just in support of what Hillcrest Covenant Church is interested in doing, because in the last 15 years, Trinity Lutheran Church has been extremely interested in doing a digital sign, and we've been knocked down 15 years ago. I know times have changed, and I think it's important for the Planning Commission to understand, and I know all the stipulations you guys have within your code, but we are in the 21st century, and we all have electronic devices, and electronic communication through signs or through phones or whatever is part of our life. So we are very supportive of what they're interested in doing, because we someday I think we'll be back and hope to be up here asking you guys for us to do the same thing. So I just wanted to be on the record for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, there being no one else at the moment, I'm going to open it up to the commissioners. Max, do you have anything?
Yeah, I did have a couple of quick questions. Excuse my ignorance, but it said it was limited to the maximum of 500 nits. What does that equate to in terms of wattage or lumens?
Can't tell you 100%, but basically, Daktronics is the manufacturer of the display,
Okay.
and the church will have the option to control the intensity, the brightness of it. From intense to non-intense, there are also sensors on the sign that automatically can change it during the day. So when it's daylight out, it needs to be a little brighter, versus at night, it dims itself.
Okay, yeah, I was just trying to get a feel for how bright night would be specifically, because obviously that's the concern of one of the neighbors. And then the only other question I had, you said there'll be no background lighting on it. It will only be the text that's illuminated at any given time?
The top portion where the logo is, so anything in blue around the logo will not be lit
I
up,
understand that.
but only the
Okay, so
text of Hillcrest Covenant Church will be.
Okay, but the sign itself could potentially be fully illuminated with a background and a messaging on it, so the whole thing could be used at one time, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm just trying to judge brightness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all I had. Thanks.
Does the sign have any ability for animation or anything like that?
It can be programmed for that, yes.
It can, okay. That's all I had.
I'm just wondering about the hours, if maybe 11 o'clock is a little too late in the evening, would you be open to maybe turning it off an hour earlier? Just a thought.
Yes.
Yep. Just throw that out.
Sure.
Why not? Sure.
Yeah, I was wondering about the hours too, why you chose 11, but, I mean, earlier, this is a community, I think people go to bed early. That's my experience. But I was wondering about the sign. I wish you had given us a sample of how it would look with the lettering, because I couldn't find it in the, I mean, right now it's black, so there'd be white letters on there?
They would be.
And they will be illuminated?
Orange.
They will be orange.
Orange?
Mm-hmm. So with
Okay.
electronic message boards, you have the option of full color, red, or orange. I mean, those are three different types of displays. Because they're on the corner, we didn't want to interfere. I mean, there is no stoplight there, but you don't want to interfere with the traffic. So orange was the determination. And if you look around town, for instance, Tom and Jerry's in Sycamore, they have an orange one. Versus McDonald's in Sycamore, and I believe they have one in DeKalb, they have red. So it'll be similar to their displays.
I think the DeKalb High School one's orange also.
It is orange, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, somehow I can't picture it right now, but.
Yeah.
And that is then controlled from inside the church, like the lettering and
Yes.
everything?
Yes.
And it's not going to flash, but it could show messages coming across.
Could have changing messages.
They can change, right? Every 20 seconds.
The message
The
can
message
change.
can change, yeah.
Yeah.
That is programmed by the
scroll.
church. So yes, I mean, one of the stipulations was no scrolling, that it just has to change. I mean, you can't do any, movements or whatnot. They just want a static message up there.
No animation.
Yeah, that's one of the conditions.
Yeah.
Just static
Yeah,
messages.
that's important because I drive down that street a lot. Not that I always look at that, but. Thank you.
I have one more. I don't know if you know, Dan, maybe you know. In comparison to, say, the sign that's at Brian Bemis in intensity, would this be similar or not as bright? Or, because I know that's a full color, I think.
Yeah, I just know that one has these same restrictions on it, and I, don't know if they're compliant,
I
what
don't
their
think they're
different colors.
It's got a lot,
I think
it's
they
got
do
colors.
have, yeah.
It switches all the time, the Brian Bemis sign.
Yeah.
It looks like an ambulance coming if you're coming from the
Yeah.
right. It's really annoying.
Are you familiar with that one,
No.
John?
I am, yes.
So
Will
it's
this
not
be as
going-
bright?
The intensity can be completely programmed.
Okay.
So if that one is too bright, I mean, a conversation could be had with them
Sure.
that just says, tone it down a little bit.
Okay. Just a reference point, so.
I don't want to beat a horse, but so when the top part of the sign is lit, the Hillcrest Covenant,
Yes.
will the blue also be illuminated, or specifically the light will be behind the letters of Hillcrest Covenant Church?
Correct. The light
Okay.
will be
Symbol.
behind the letters.
Okay.
The blue will
So it's
not light up
masked.
at all.
So it's masked.
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure that was clear.
And the top portion will only be on when it's dark out. So
Oh, okay.
like this time of year, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. The bottom portion, the electronic portion, would be on if they choose 6 a.m. to 11 p.m.
And the top the top portion's controlled separately from the bottom?
Yes.
Okay. So that would potentially be on 24 hours a day, just like the sign is now?
Is the sign on 24 hours? It is?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's no difference.
Anyone else?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Thank you. So I give the public one more opportunity to speak if you have any questions or comments. Okay. There being none, I'll close the public hearing. Commissioners, any further questions of the city? No? Okay. So if none, I'll exercise a motion. Keep in mind, so in Exhibit B, if you wanted to change or stipulate time, you would need to make that a 7th item and stipulate out the time, correct?
Right.
Yep.
Do we want it to be at the time?
I don't want to change it.
You don't want to change it? You don't want to change it?
No.
Okay, that's fine.
So I'll make a motion.
So you don't want to change it? You guys are fine with until 11 p.m.?
Well, there's no restrictions on the time.
no
They've
restriction.
indicated
They
that what
just
they'll
said
do,
11.
but there's nothing
Oh, right.
proposed to
Okay, so
Right.
if we
restrict
want
that.
to,
So-
we
We're not
have to put it
implementing
in there.
any
Right.
restrictions.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
So it could be
So if we want
all
it
night.
to, if we want to make sure it's 6 to 11, we need to stipulate that as
Yes.
number
Okay.
7.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I ain't stipulating that.
What?
They can do what they want.
Jerry doesn't want to make the motion.
Just-
Yeah,
I'm not
I don't make
stipulating
motion.
it. I'm not stipulating it.
So when you
I'll
make the motion, you
motion.
can just add
Number
number 7
7.
in Exhibit B being
If I wanted to add a 7.
correct.
Right. All right. Amen.
He doesn't want to do that.
I make a motion?
Go for it.
All right. Based upon the submitted petition and testimony presented, I move that the Planning and Zoning Commission forward its factual findings and recommend to the City Council approval of a special use permit for a church, special use permits for a church, in order to approve a waiver to Article 13.03.9 of the Unified Development Ordinance to allow an electronic changeable copy sign, digital display sign, as shown on the sign details and site plan received on August 15, 2018, prepared by Banner Up Signs, labeled as Exhibit A, and per the conditions as indicated on Exhibit B.
I'll second.
The motion's been made by Wright, seconded by Buckley. Any discussion?
Didn't we want to have a 7th point?
You can do an amendment if you would like.
Yeah, I would like that.
Okay.
So to amend it with the point 7 to Exhibit B, that the times of operations would be 6 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Okay. So we have an amendment.
Can I
It
can I
has to be
clarify
approved.
that, though, just so that it only pertains to the LED sign?
Oh, you're making it complicated.
Well, I mean-
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
So what-
We've got a motion and a second on the table. If there's amendment, the
Right.
first and the second have to agree to that.
Right.
I don't.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't agree with that?
No.
If you don't, then we have to call roll on the motion that's in front
On the
of it.
motion that's present.
Yes.
Without the amendment.
Unless the, Mr. Wright and Buckley agree to that change.
I don't.
Okay.
Okay. So amendment's not
Nope,
part of
just
the...
approve as
Yep.
per the staff report
Okay.
as was read.
So there's no time restrictions on there,
Correct.
in there. So it
That's
could
the
go on
motion.
all night. It could be on all night.
Their church, they won't have it on all
No.
night.
they won't.
They won't have it on all night.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Roll call.
Vicky Buckley,
Yes.
David Castro, Max Maxwell,
Yes.
Jerry Wright,
Yes.
Katharina Barbie,
No, I want the time limit.
and Chair Christina Doe.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Any reports?
Yes, next commission meeting is October 3rd. We'll have one hearing for 209 West Hillcrest. It's a variation on a garage addition. I think you got an email this last few days on that. That will be their only agenda item. At the September 10th council meeting, the council did approve or pass on first reading the Home 2 Suites Hotel. The second reading will be in front of the council at their meeting next Monday night. We did receive or the mayor did receive a resignation from Deb Neer from the commission. And I know the mayor's looking to hopefully make an appointment to the commission to fill that vacant spot in the near future.
Okay. Thank you. And with that resignation, just want to make it public, thanking Deb for her service. She was a great asset to our team, and so I'll sad to see her go, but totally understand that she needed to make that decision, so.
We'll miss her.
Yes. All right, so I'm ready to go, and I haven't even adjourned. I'm ready for a motion, whoever would like to give one. for
I'm so
adjournment.
moved.
So moved by
Second.
Barbie, second by Maxwell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I keep.
Headed for the door.